Hello, I'm Graham Booth, and today I'm going to paint a picture of Rathlin Island, which is a little island off the north coast of Northern Ireland where I live. And it's a really nice place, very quiet, nice beaches, great place for bird watchers. But I'm going to do the little beach just beside the harbour today. So there's sand, there's a few boats, a little building at the back. And I'm going to be using a palette that's slightly different from my normal palette. This is a 6-colour palette, and it's based on three traditional primaries, red, blue and yellow, and three, shall we say, more modern primaries. Well, the yellow is the same, but the other two would be cyan and magenta, and for those I'll be using phthalo blue and quinacridone magenta. So for today's painting, my palette will be ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, quinacridone magenta, pearl red, quinacridone gold and modern aureolin. Now these 6 colours give me a great variety of potential mixes, and I'll be using just these 6 to create the painting today. And so we'll begin. Get some water into the palette, and I'm going to mix some phthalo blue and some quinacridone magenta, and I'm mixing these two together. These will give my sky blue. I would have used cobalt blue in the past for this, but these two colours give me a much more interesting mix, much stronger mix, and it doesn't seem to dry just as lightly. I want to get that on the paper very quickly and very simply, so I'm just going to try to bring it across in fairly broad bands. I'm not wanting to paint too smoothly here. I want the sky to have a little bit of interest in it. So some parts of the sky I want to look quite dark, a good strong blue. Some parts of the sky I want to look quite light, and they will be the clouds. Continuing on down the paper then, I'm adding some more pearl red to that mix, and that's going to obviously make it slightly purpley. And that's going to do me for these at least it'll do me for the first stage of these backlit buildings. Again, everything's still very wet, everything's still very flowing. You can see how it's running down. I have the paper tilted at about 50 degrees, and I'm just going to work my way down the paper. I'm going to change now to green, so I'll use some of the aureolin modern with a little bit of ultramarine. That gives me a nice grassy green, and I'm just going to use that for the left hand side here, just underneath where the boats are. And again, just nice quick motions. I want this quite rough, don't want anything too careful. Time to be careful is in the later stages. Some aureolin and a little bit of the pearl red will give me a beach colour. It's that golden colour. And again, letting everything merge together. So the green merges with the sand colour, and really all the colours merge together. That's the interesting thing about this first wash. And once that's done, I'm going to just let that dry. Okay, now that it has dried, I'm using some more of the green colour at the top of the roof, and I'll then reintroduce the purple. There was a little bit of green lichen on the top of the roof, so that's why I've used green there, and a little bit of the purple colour for the rest of the roof. And I want probably going to have to, the walls of the building need to be much darker, because I'm depending on the dark tone of the buildings showing up the light coloured boats in front. So I'm trying to get starting now to try and get a grey that's slightly lighter, or grey purple that's slightly lighter than the roof. And really just getting a little bit stronger nearer the bottom, so that I get a better contrast against the boats. So I'm being quite careful about painting right now. I can't have that strange L-shaped mark, so I'm going to have to soften the edge of that so that it blends in with the building. Again, just take a damp brush and I can soften that in so it just doesn't look so obvious. Carrying on down then with the the purple grey. And a little bit more of the green. I like to get variety in all parts of the picture, so I'm over the grass here. I'm going to go over part of that grass again. Not all of it, only part of it. There isn't much point doing a wash if you're going to completely obliterate it. You may as well not bother. So therefore I'm leaving some of the original grass colour there and reinforcing that with this second stronger grass colour. And again, I want to apply this nice and simply. So I'm using simple, broad, quick strokes, not being careful. Now again, with the Pearl and the Ultramarine to give us the purple colour, I'm going to use this for the wall. There's a pier that runs down from the beach into the sea. And again, the strength of darkness on the pier is designed to show up the boats. So the boats will be light and the backlit walls of the pier and the houses will be quite dark. And some more of the purple for the shadow side. A little bit of light I'm leaving in between the back wall and the front wall is the surface of the pier. That's the surface you would walk down. I'm not quite sure what it's called. And then I'm going to use this purple grey just to add a little bit more interest. Again, we need to get some dark into that background workshop or whatever it happens to be. But I'll leave a sliver of light just between it and the wall, because there is the light's catching the top of the wall. And then some more sand colour with the Aureolin and the Pearl Red. And again, I'll just put this in parts, and I'm trying to get a sense of the shape of the beach here. So this would be where the seaweed would be swept up the beach by the sea. And back into the purple again, just to need to separate the gable of this house with the gable of there's two buildings here, so I need to separate the gable on the left, which is why I'm darkening the wall on the right, and then that separates the gable on the left. So it's all tonal contrast. That's how we show things. We have parts of the picture dark and other parts of the picture light, and this is irrespective of what it really looks like, because in a painting we depend on tonal contrast to give us the structure of the painting. If we don't have tonal contrast, we don't have any structure. Now I need to darken the gable, but I can't make the gable as dark as the front of the building beside it. So again, I'm going to darken the left hand side, but soften the paint so that it's a little bit paler to the right hand side, so we still have the tonal contrast. And on the little bit of the side of the building that we're seeing, just a hint of a little window. And the same thing on the workshop. I'll leave a little space for the window. I want to try and keep the roof light, and I don't want to put a dark line around it. It's not sufficiently different to the sky to show up clearly, so I'm hinting at the little shadow parts of it in order to avoid having to darken it, because in order to get the sense of backlight, rooftops very often are very light when the sun is behind the roof. Now I want a cooler green for the vegetation that is behind the pier, so I'm cooling my green down with a little bit of the phthalo blue. But the phthalo blue can make it a little bit artificial looking, so some of the Pearl Red. Anytime you add red to a green, it tends to make it warms it up obviously, but it makes it a little bit more realistic. But I still want this slightly cool, so it's cooler than the grass at the front. And again, keeping it very simple. I'm not trying to show that it's a particular type of hedge or shrub or anything like that. I just want a simple suggestion of the vegetation behind. I'm going to start on the boats now, and I want to get some colours that will suit them. So I want this to be a sort of bluey green colour. So again, the phthalo blue has a lot to do with that. And at this stage I'm just trying to get some hull colours, some rough hull colours onto these boats. I'll worry about separating them tonally in a while. Just change colour here. That first brush was a little bit too big for what I was trying to do. So this is a size 7 sable. I'm just trying to vary the colours. I don't want anything very, very bright because the boats are all quite weathered. So the colours on them were probably applied 10 or 20 years ago. So the colours have dulled. So I don't want anything too bright. And generally the way to dull a colour is to add its complement. So if you've got a green, if you add red to it, that'll dull it. If you've got a blue and add orange to it, that will dull it. Complementary colours. So the colours that are opposite on the colour wheel are complementary colours. Change to a little squirrel mop here. I think the colour flows better from it, and squirrel mops do keep a very good point. No matter how good a sable is, eventually the point wears away, but with squirrel brushes that doesn't seem to happen. Squirrel brushes seem to retain their point. But they're very soft hair, so there perhaps isn't as much control with the squirrel brush as there is with the sable. Now I'm using a little simple technique here just to soften these little areas of green. This is a sort of grassy area of the beach, and by applying the stroke and then rubbing it with my finger, then that allows me to get a softness. So it's similar to softening at the edge of the wash, but I'm doing it with my finger rather than with the brush. And then a nice dark, and I'll use the dark to mix in with the greens that I've already used. And it's just again to create this idea of tonal contrast. I like to try to get the three tones pretty much everywhere in my painting. So I want a light, medium and dark tone of the different colours that I'm using. Using that same dark to apply the windows of the house. And what I'm trying to do here is make each window slightly different. So what I don't want are whatever 6 or 10 little oblongs that all look exactly the same. What I'm wanting to do here is to produce marks that will look like windows, but each one will be slightly different and therefore more interesting. Now obviously with these darks I can use the darks to show up the boats as well, because obviously where the darks end, or where the boats begin, the darks go behind the boat, so I leave a nice crisp edge there, and that helps to isolate and lighten the boats even more. Now I'm using this dark to give me the windows in the boats as well. And again, the strong dark helps to make the lights lighter. So lightness and darkness can't exist except in relative terms. So something can only be light in relation to something that is darker. Something can only be dark in relation to something that is lighter. So I'm using these darks particularly to put underneath the boats, and this is to give the impression of the boat
curving round underneath. And a few little lines to hint at I don't know what they are, but they're bits and pieces of the trailers that just help to keep the boats upright. But for me, they're just interesting shapes, and I'm letting them mix with the darks under the boats. And again, continuing with these darks, I love adding these darks because it really is, it's the first time in the painting that things start to really get strength. And it's simply down to the tonal strength of these darks. Once you add those strong, strong darks, all of a sudden the lights just seem to glow. And it's back again to my little size 7 sable. There's a nice point in it, so it gives me good control. And these are again just parts of the boat, so I'm getting the hint at the trailer underneath the boat. Again, these little supports, and of course the shadow of the boat, because the boat will be casting a shadow on the beach, and that helps to link it to the ground. The boat is sitting on the trailer, which is sitting on the ground, so essentially there's a connection there. And if there's a connection, you shouldn't see a space between the boat and the ground. So by making the shadow part of essentially part of the trailer of the boat, and the trailer of the boat blends with the underside of the boat, and by doing all that, you get a nice connection, and you get the boat is sitting strongly on the sand. It doesn't appear to be floating above it. These other little darks are really just for interest. It's just because the right hand side there's not really much happening, so I've introduced those couple of, well, I'm calling them barrels. They're not actually there, but it's just to make it more interesting. In other words, we need to get some darks over at the right hand side to balance some of the darks at the left hand side. And again, I can use the strength of dark to increase the contrast between the light coloured boats and the dark coloured wall. I don't want to get too precise over at the right hand side, so I'm just going to do a quick sweep with the brush over there. Again, I'm using the Pearl Red and Ultramarine to give me these darks. Now, it's quite a purpley dark, but I add a little bit of aureolin to it, and a little bit of yellow offsets the purple colour a little bit, and makes it slightly more neutral. It's just to give me variety. That's what your paints are for. Mix them. It's mixing paints gives you the variety. I'm just taking the opportunity to strengthen up the shadows underneath. And again, strengthening the darks to make the lights look lighter. A few little rocks and things, so there's a few places where there is a little bit of lighter, where I've maybe missed part of the paper and it's quite light, and I'm just putting a little piece of dark beside it, and that helps to give the suggestion of rocks and things like that. So again, anywhere where there's a little bit of light, if I add a little bit of dark beside it, it will give a sparkle. And obviously on a beach there would be all sorts of little rocks and stones and things, so by adding a few dots here and there, that all makes it interesting. Using a slightly stronger red now. I was slightly worried that perhaps I'd gone too black with some of those darks, so I'm just trying to get a little bit of colour back into it. And the walls, that wall's a bit bland looking, so just a splash of colour on it, just to make it more interesting. So this is really the final stages of the painting, and I'm just looking around for little areas where I can add these stronger darks to, just to give that little bit more sparkle. And this is the fun bit, because pretty much I'm only adding small amounts of paint, so I shouldn't be able to destroy anything, he said, worrying slightly. But you can't really. Once you get the worrying bit of the painting is getting the big areas blocked in. These little touches, you can't really go too far wrong with them. I'm doing that same thing again, where I'm rubbing the mark with my finger just to soften it and essentially make it join with the other surface. So I'm trying to connect the seaweed to the sand, and of course the seaweed is connected to the sand. It's touching it, so it's physically connected. I think that'll probably do me today. Just finish off with a few more of these little black dots. I do like doing those, so I have to be careful and not do too many. Do visit my website, grahamebooth.com. You can also find me on Facebook, and there's a little newsletter that you can sign up to, and I send that out occasionally. Hope you enjoyed the demo, and see you soon. Bye.